With us now, former federal prosecutor and CNN legal analyst Shanlon Wu and Emily Larson, political reporter for the Washington Examiner. Welcome back to you both.
Thank you.
Emily, let me start with you, and we're going to start with the budget and then go on to other things, including impeachment. This fight came down to both sides fighting over a guarantee for disbursement of funds to Ukraine. Now, that could have been politically problematic for each side if this had reached a government shutdown, right?
Certainly. I mean, the Ukraine, anything revolving around Ukraine and aid to Ukraine is going to be politically problematic and toxic for both sides, especially when you're trying to avoid a government shutdown. And it's very important for both sides to avoid a government shutdown on the Democrats' side, because the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi are trying to argue that they are pursuing both impeachment and can walk and chew gum at the same time and getting other priorities done. And so that's one reason. On the flip side, Republicans and President Trump want to project that even though he is under attack from impeachment, he is able to pass some of his priorities through. And so while it could have given Democrats some leverage and maybe some political points to try and push for that, at the end of the day, it was more important to make sure that the government was funded and push other priorities through.
Shannon, the White House says this is not about Ukraine specifically, but about protecting the powers of the office. Is that a valid argument from your perspective?
It's not a valid argument because the Constitution is designed to protect the government, and it allows this one mechanism to remove a president for misconduct. So to argue that, well, you can't really remove the president for misconduct because we're trying to protect the office is sort of a non sequitur. It's circular. The question is there evidence which would justify impeaching and then removing this president from office? So arguing that this is not really about the misconduct, it's about protecting the office of the presidency is really completely circular.
Emily, let me come to you about impeachment now and this strategy that's been articulated. We have here, I think we've got the sound from Chris Van Hollen, a Democratic senator from Maryland, making it plain why, from his perspective at least, Speaker Pelosi is holding these articles of impeachment, not yet handing them over to the Senate. Watch.
What Speaker Pelosi is saying is that she won't transfer the articles of impeachment until we get assurances that there will be a fair trial.
So, and you cover the Democrats, for those purple district or those purple state, purple district or Trump district Democrats, does this make them even more vulnerable? The vote for impeachment was theirs, right? And that might have made them vulnerable. But this is the speaker's strategy. Does this hurt them?
Well, the speaker's strategy, obviously anything she does has the possibility of hurting some of her more moderate members in these Trump districts. If she continues to hold these articles up and it becomes a long drawn out process, that certainly gives the impression that Democrats are making this more of a political fight than what they are saying this is a somber, important constitutional occasion of checks and balances. But if this is held up, that's a lot harder for these Trump district representatives to argue when they go back, which is going to be making them look like they were voting not necessarily based on principles, but based off of a Democratic Party strategy. So there's a risk there. Another point is it is the holiday season, and so Congress will likely, there's a good chance that things move more quickly after they're back in session.
Yeah, we know that there are members of the House, Democrats, the staff, they're working on the preparation of handing this over. Shannon, let me come back to you. The clash that we're seeing between Leader McConnell and Leader Schumer, you say, is passion versus facts. Explain.
With courtroom proceedings, and this is not a courtroom proceeding, there's a lot of focus put on by rules and by the judge to make sure that the case is decided not on passion or partisanship or biases, but by the evidence. So here, what the Republicans are doing, and notably McConnell speaking for them, is to try to get rid of that evidence. They don't want to hear witnesses. They don't want documents. They want to argue passion. Really, this is what we call in the trial business a jury nullification argument, which is they're really saying, in jury nullification, you really say, don't listen to the evidence. We don't care what evidence is out there. This is just wrong. Send a message. Don't do this. And that's really what the Republicans are saying. They're saying to their base, we're going to send a message. We're not participating. It doesn't matter what evidence there is, and we certainly don't want to hear or see it.
Shan, let me finish up with you and some notes you sent to my producer. There was a phrase that jumped out, 4 words here, in the discussion of their oath, the senator's oath to do impartial justice. You called that a meaningless circular word game about impartiality and their ability or willingness to do it after we heard from Leader McConnell and Senator Lindsey Graham. Explain that.
They're focusing on, I assume their legal advisors are focusing on the phrase in the oath, which is to do impartial justice. Very different than the courtroom where the jurors have to be impartial. A lot of attention paid to asking them questions about are they impartial or not. McConnell and Graham are taking the viewpoint of we interpret the words justice, and we have decided that this is not justice, and that's impartial because we are impartial people. We can decide if we're impartial.
The impeachment articles are not justice. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, that
Okay.
the articles or the process are not just. And the problem why that's meaninglessly circular is they're the ones that get to decide whether they're being impartial or not. So they just assert, I've declared impartially, this is not justice. And that's clearly violating the spirit of the oath, although maybe not the words of it.
All right, Shanlon Wu, Emily Larson, good to have you both.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.